Hey, welcome back. My name is Dino. This video is on Steven Pinker's article, Mind Over Mass Media. Man, look at that guy's hair. It's like a beautiful lion's mane. No hats for this guy. Basically, the focus of this video will be how we cope with various online tools and affordances, communication platforms, etc., etc. First off, moral panics. What does Pinker say? New forms of media have always caused moral panics, so too with electronic technologies. PowerPoint is reducing discourse to bullet points. Search engines lower our intelligence, encouraging us to skim on the surface of knowledge rather than dive to its depths. Twitter is shrinking our attention spans. That's all from Pinker. Do you disagree or agree with this? What do you think are the implications of these new electronic technologies? And what do you think? What's the residue left after this panic subsides, also known as post-panic? How do we deal with these various technologies? 2. Coin. Coin in this situation refers to counterinsurgency, COIN. As I recently shared from Pinker, PowerPoint is reducing discourse to bullet points. That I'm sure if you've seen some PowerPoint slides, this one has a couple of bullet points on it specifically. This pushes back against other PowerPoints where there's a push to overpack the information density, so the information on the slide is really, really dense. And I'll give an example with a slide from a presentation on Afghanistan stability and counterinsurgency dynamics security. Ouch! Look at all that. So that is also a PowerPoint slide with all of those various main themes like tactical in the upper left, popular support at the bottom lower right, etc., and all the different flows and currents of different phenomena dealing with Afghanistan counterinsurgency. So again, PowerPoint can often reduce discourse to bullet points, but can also try to overpack. I'm sure you've been in presentations, especially at the post-secondary level, where you're like, wow, there's even just so much text that someone leaves the slide on for a screen for 10 seconds, and it's like it could take you like 5 minutes to read it all. And it leads to the question: how much information can PowerPoint sustain, where you put information on a screen and someone can read it and digest it and it's useful? And then it also asks how much and what type of information should we share? And just as a really simple example, this is a very trite example. If you have people that are not particularly good at mathematics or not very numerate, having a lot of charts and graphs with a lot of numbers on them might be really appropriate for, say, an economics, a physics, a mathematics audience, but not so much for general laymen. Maybe you want to keep the bars and charts and graphs and statistics away from you. Introduction to English literature. State of science. Quote: for a reality check today, take the state of science, which demands high levels of brain work and is measured by clear benchmarks of discovery. These days, scientists are never far away from their email, rarely touch paper, and cannot lecture without PowerPoint. If electronic media were hazardous to intelligence, the quality of science would be plummeting. Good point, Pinker. Do you agree or disagree with this point? And then maybe the bigger point, because this is, obviously for science, and Pinker's a scientist. Does this sentiment hold for non-scientists? Pinker says, if electronic media were hazardous intelligence, the quality of science would be plummeting. I wonder if the quality of just discourse generally is plummeting because of mass media, especially social media. What about for vulnerable populations like teens or people who have problems doing critical reading? And you can think about people who you'd perceive as being very vulnerable to say political propaganda, etc. Distraction. Yes, the constant arrival of information packets can be distracting or addictive, especially to people with attention deficit disorder. But distraction is not a new phenomenon. The solution is not to bemoan technology, but to develop strategies of self-control, as we do with every other temptation in life. Turn off email or Twitter when you work. Put away your BlackBerry at dinner time. Ask your spouse to call you to bed at a designated hour. Honey, come to bed. It'd be great if that actually happened while he was writing this article. I wonder, are you distracted by tech? Is it a new phenomenon? He says the distraction is not a new phenomenon, but I wonder, pre-internet, pre-social media, mainly internet-based news, if the volume of information and distraction is so high and the tools of distraction are so sophisticated that it's just a completely different distraction. Can you, depending on your like work, for example, can you turn off email or Twitter? Say if you work in marketing or social media as a phenomenon, or you're working sort of in the administrative staff for an organization. Oh no, hey guys, say at a university. Hey, it's January, we're doing no registrations. Just this week, I'm not going to answer email. Like a lot of people just can't do that. Do you use strategies of self-control? Did you ever even think that you need strategies of self-control? And then similarly, do vulnerable populations like teens and maybe people that are less literate use or even know what strategies of self-control even are? Reflection. And to encourage intellectual depth, don't rail at PowerPoint or Google. It's not as if habits of deep reflection, thorough research, and rigorous reasoning ever came naturally to people. They must be acquired in special institutions, which we call universities, and maintained with constant upkeep, which we call analysis, criticism, and debate. How should people develop these positive habits online? Like, how do you learn the habits of deep reflection? Is there a schism between the deep reflection of when you're going to a library, you're with a great novel, a nice piece of a nonfiction where you're reading it, you're in a library, it's quiet, everyone's quiet, maybe you have a nice view, there's old books around. Is that different? Is it easier to develop deep reflection in a library with books than it is, say, online when you're at a cafe or coffee shop, or in a student lounge, etc.? And then I wonder, how do regular folk, non-students, people who do not go to universities, develop habits of deep reflection through research and rigorous reasoning? It seems like certain nations have high levels of post-secondary education and attainment. What about the people who just don't go? We're all friends. We're all in a society together. Like, how do we get everyone to be able to think critically and do research and research for things that are important to whatever that person finds important? Finally, tech help. The new media have caught on for a reason. Knowledge is increasing exponentially. Human brain power and weak working hours are not. Fortunately, the internet and information technologies are helping us manage, search, and retrieve our collective intellectual output at different scales, from Twitter and previews to ebooks and online encyclopedias. Far from making us stupid, these technologies are the only things that will keep us smart. Thanks, Stephen. I wonder, do you think you could become or keep smart without tech? You almost had to before tech, and I think when he's talking, Professor Pinker's talking about here, he's meaning, I think, the new digital revolution. So, before the new digital revolution, say, since personal computers and on internet, et cetera, were around, people were smart before that. So, some people were able to do it sometime before that. And how would you raise a child today, given tech's influence? Would you keep them away from it? Would you personally show a child how to use these technologies? That was Steven Pinker's Mind Over Mass Media. Thanks for watching. Please feel free to like this video. Please feel free to comment. How do you deal with tech distractions? Are they so sophisticated you don't even know you're distracted? Like, you're looking at your phone for half an hour, you don't even notice the time passing by. How did you develop the way to think rigorously and deeply reason? How do you deal with the onslaught of information we have on a day-to-day basis? Please feel free, if you like this type of content, to subscribe to this channel. As always, thanks for watching.